Alright, it's me again. I'm getting progressively more tired. Um, Nearing the end of the sub counter, but still potentially quite a bit of. Yeah, why am I fucking. Alright. Alright. Anyways, monsters. Yeah, monsters. Yeah, the thing. Woo! Like the thing where we rate the cards, like the way we did the neutrals, and it was hard. Yeah, that. Cool. Glad y'all get it. Ah. Yeah, spreadsheet is up. Okay, yeah, right. We good. All right. Necker. Yeah. Necker's like weird. You can kind of play it and shoot. Card's like so frustrating to play because if it gets just answered, it's so bad. And like everything fucking answers it right now. It's just like falling behind. Like, why would you play Necker when you can play Larva? And I know the answer's fucking shoot, but like, I'll give it 2 stars. The card's not terrible. Ancient Foglet is just like now just like basically worse than all of the other like consumable shit. They've gotten so many better consume targets than this. You can still Peller it, which is cute, but it's not worth it anymore. So it's like a 1 star. Card's just fallen behind his brethren. Same for Arcaspore. Something Mata. Make Arcaspore thrive again! I really don't think it would break the card. I mean, there's a lot of other shit you could do to this card too to make it more interesting, but you know. Night Wraith, on the other hand, I would give a solid 4 stars too. The card's like pretty good to just throw into monster decks. It's like a really low risk consume card, which is really nice. The only downside to it is it's only a 3 for Thrive. And since every single monster deck's got to be playing in Draga Larva, that's like relevant always, but you can usually curve it fine. Kiki Warriors falling behind the curve in terms of engines. I don't know how I'm gonna rate like the dual faction cards. I'm probably just gonna fucking rate them twice because I'm a Pepega and I'm gonna forget. Okay, that's our. Or should I just rate them as Syndicate only? I mean, let's be real. This is a fucking monster card. I'm gonna rate the cards. I think I'm probably gonna rate the dual faction cards as their respective faction and not as syndicate cards if I remember to do that. Yeah, so this is a monster card. It used to be good. I don't think it'll ever be good again. It's really sad. Like, with just how damage has progressed. This thing just like dies. It can be really scary, but it's like normally it just fucking dies, and it dies, it's literally a 3. It's so bad. I think it's a 1 star card. Yeah, maybe that's a little unfair. It's really not that unfair. It is pretty bad. I'll give it 2 stars. I changed my mind. Because the card can really pop off when it does pop off. It's just, it's just hard. No, they killed AQ. Okay, it's 1 star. It's 1 star. Who am I fucking kidding? The card sucks. Bruxa. Like, at most, it's like gaining like 2 points. Unless you're like using it to pop like Ancient Foglets. I don't know. Anyway, Bruxa. Bruxa. I think Bruxa's worse than Night Wraith, but that's partly just a product of the decks that Bruxa goes into. Bruxa's a good vampire and it's a good Thrive card. It probably deserves 4 stars as well. It's an all-around solid monster card. Garcane post nerf, I would give 3 stars. You can still play it in vampires. It's just a lot lamer. Siren's like a 1 star card. You can play it in Highlander if you have like way too many death wishes for some reason. It's just like, why would you? It's like nothing exciting about this card, which I realized I had to mouse over because most of y'all probably don't fucking know what it does. Wild Hunt Navigator, 1 star. Wild Hunt, lol. Foglet is probably, I would say, about as good as Night Wraith. I would give Foglet 4 stars. I think they go in like similar decks. Being able to thin is nice. It's worth the 1 point in a lot of situations, and in the situations where it's not, it's a 4-peak card. Doesn't hurt to kick it. Yeah, let's see. Counting. I forgot one of these cards somewhere. Okay, so you're 2, 4, 4. 4. I forgot the 4. Yeah, I forgot to put in Foglet. Okay. Fiend. Fiend is funny. There's a little bit more potential for all Death Wish. It is a form of carryover. Like, all Death Wish is not a total meme. I would give this card 2 stars. It's like clunky to try to use it. But there are a couple of decks in which it's pretty good. Andrega Eggs. Andrega Eggs is probably just the best like monster for besides Andrega Warrior. I don't know if it's like crazy enough to be worth rating 5 stars. I'd probably still give it a 4, even though it's a little bit better than both Foglet and Night Wraith. Yeah, I think that's right. Andrega Warrior, on the other hand, I think is a 5-star card. The card's like a really solid consume card. It can play for value on insectoids. It can be a double consume. It can do half and half. It can play on only one consume if like the positioning you need is weird. Being able to like trade off consumes for a point is like kind of valuable in situations where you just have way too many. I think the card is just overall very good. Yeah. So we've got a 1, a 4, and a 2. We got Plumbered. I think Plumbered's quickly falling by the wayside. Even in Vampires, the card's like not great. I'd give it like, it's viable, I guess, in Vampires. It's just really underwhelming. There are like so many other 4s you can play now. Although, consume Vampires don't always mix, and a lot of the other 4s you'd play are consume cards. I guess Plumber deserves a 3. I'll give Plumber a 3. Forktail. Forktail occasionally sees play in like unitless shit. It's just like underwhelming. Like, it's pretty decent at what it does. It's just like not really good anymore. It's like, yeah, I think Forktail's kind of just bad. I'd give it 1 star. I don't really know why you'd play Forktail. It can be funny with like, I don't know. Werewolf, just too weak now. It's kind of cute in like Woodland. Fucking Woodland. 1 star. Cockatrice, 1 star. Doesn't fucking do anything. It's just like a weird beast card, and beast is like weird. But like even when it's next to 2 adjacent beasts, this card is kind of underwhelming. Necker Warrior. You still see played sometimes in Thrive Gurney, but the card's like really like not. This card used to feel really good, and the card's just slowly gotten like worse and worse and worse. I think it's honestly only like a 2-star bronze now. It's really like it's a lot worse than Bruxa. Bruxa comes out a point more, and it has more Thrive potential, The only advantage Necro Warrior has is it's a little harder to kill right away. It's like quite solidly a lot worse than Bruxa. I'd give it 2 stars. So 3, 1, 1, 1, 2. Yeah. That's a thing. We got Noonwraith next. Noonwraith, Deathwish, spawn 2 rats in a random enemy row. I think Noonwraith is pretty solid. Like, the Deathwish doesn't matter too much. Sometimes the Deathwish is an upside, sometimes it's a downside. There's a Noonwraith deck, which is pretty funny. Just, like, fills the board with random crap from Noonwraiths over and over again. And, like, stops your opponent from playing cards. The deck's kind of a meme. But, like, also with just stuff like Glusty, it's, like, risky to proc the Deathwish. It's also just, like, a solid Thrive card. Having a big body on a 4P card is pretty nice. It's either a 3 or a 4. I think it's, like, better than Plumbered and, like, kind of solid in its own right enough. It's also, like, proactive enough. It's not that exciting of a card. I'd only give it 3, even though I think it is better than Plumbered. Natural Selection. Natural Selection, how much do I rate, like, this brand of card? In Monsters, Natural Selection's kind of good because there's, like, very little else you can run for, like, removal potential. On the other hand, because Monsters has so little, like, removal potential, like, they just have so few, like, control cards that you'd actually want to play. It makes Natural Selection kind of that much worse. Because it's just like, this card doesn't answer that much stuff on its own. And it's just like asking to get like randomly screwed over by like a defender. It's also an AQ, like it's really good in AQ, but AQ is just like shit right now. Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate the card, but I see a lot of other people run it more than I do, and it seems kind of shitty to me. I give it like 3 stars. Like, the overkill thing, like, rarely matters as well. Although it can. Feast of Blood. Feast of Blood's, like, kind of okay in Vampires. I don't know, I'd give it 2 stars. Vampires have, like, enough other bronzes that they want to play. It's, like, a little awkward to fit it in. It's, like, not really good enough. It's just, like, Purify and Damage by 3. Yeah. Arrakis Nest. I'd rate it about the same as Natural Selection. I think. You get a little more payoff for the decks that just, like, really want the drones in Natural Selection. But with Natural Selection, you get the option to kill something or, like, get drones. There's, like, nothing that makes this card, like, particularly good right now, but you can run it. I'll give it 3. I don't really like it in a lot of the decks that, like, have, like, drone synergy. Like, I don't really like it in Kiki Queen. It's, like, fine in AQ, but it's, like, eh. I don't know. It's technically viable. Okay, so those are the 4s. And Dragon Larva. That's an easy one. That's a 5-star boyo right there. Drowner. Drowner's a card that's kind of weird, because I see quite a few people play it, and I have no fucking idea why. Most of the time, the card's just, like, 4 for 5 Thrive, but it's a really tiny Thrive. Just gets pinged off by some random 2 damage thing that, like, barely costs anything on the card. Sometimes it's pretty nice to have a movement. I don't know. Drowner's, like, weird. I don't hate. It's technically viable. I'll give it a 3. it's just like hard to find the deck where you'd really want to play Drowner. Although people will say Gurney, but like, not really Gurney. It's not great in Gurney, although it does curve. It's definitely best in Gurney, I guess. Like the Thrive curve makes Drowner feel quite a bit better. Necrorat. Necrorat is good in Vampires. Vampires are like not great right now. I'm tempted to only give Necrorat a 3, honestly. Cause like Vampires kinda blow. And Necrorat's like not as amazing as you'd think. But with TA, Necrorat can get like a lot done. Necrorat probably deserves a 4 for being one of the better cards in Vampires. Alp, playable in Vampires. Not very exciting. Kind of like Plumbered tier. I think Alp is actually better than Plumbered because it does like a little more what you want a card like this to do, as opposed to Plumbered being like literally just a vanilla. Because like Alp is better at like pumping Oriana and like keeping Guard King going and things like that. But they're like same tier. I'd give Alp a 3 as well. Maloran. This card is really clunky. It's like the Bronze Death Wishes are all kind of shit. Theoretically, if they print a really good one, Maloran could see play again. But people already meme me whenever I put Abaya in a deck, and Abaya is like so much better than Maloran, it's not even funny. Like, Maloran's probably just a 1-star. Wild Hunt Hound's a fucking joke, so we'll give that a 1-star. Yo, Cicada, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. Yeah. Let's see. So 2 more 1-stars for the 1-star club. Harpy Egg. Harpy Egg is pretty good. I would give it 4 stars. I think Consume is one of the better monster archetypes right now. It's a card you can play in it. It's a card that sometimes makes it in. It enables Abaya, which is not a bad payoff. Abaya's like Maloran, but good. It's also just a solid Death Wish. Can't get Swears, which hurts a lot, but like, so do most monster consume target cards. Wild Hunt Rider. The dominance change makes it considerable again. For a while, this card was really clunky. It's just like hard to find a deck where it's like, woo, 6 for 5, I want to play that. Cause like, in dominance themed decks like Gurney, where you can like easily play big stuff or like consume or whatever, like the problem with Wild Hunt Rider is like Monsters as a faction right now relies on Andrega Larva to really dominate round 1 in order to like get a grasp on whatever strategy they're like trying to execute, whether they're pushing or passing and trying to get a long round. And Wild Hunt Rider just like never has a good timing because you want to play Andrega Larva turn 1. Like, you don't want to play Rider and then like not like skip turns on Andrega Larva. That's gonna hurt your round a lot. But then if you play Andrega Larva, you don't get dominance anymore. And then you have to find another time to play your Wild Hunt Rider, and it just like never procs Thrive. And because of that, this card loses a lot of value. I'd give it 2 stars. In like a heavy combo deck, you could play it if you really needed thinning. But it is really not good. It is not a good card. Yeah. Wild Hunt Warrior. Why does Wild Hunt exist? Wyvern. I kind of have a soft spot for Wyvern. It's like Drowner, but better stats. I kind of prefer Wyvern to Drowner, but the range lock is really annoying on it. The range lock is just like, why did they do that? I really don't know why they did that. Card is probably like also 2 stars. I think if you give Drowner more than 1 star, you're probably supposed to give Wait, I gave Drowner 3 stars. Wyvern, yeah, no, Wyvern's not a 3-star card. You don't see people playing Wyvern like you do Drowner. The movement on Drowner is pretty significant, even though I don't like admitting that. Because it's like, I don't know. Drowner's an odd card. It usually doesn't get both Thrive and movement value, but against certain engines it can. Like, I guess against Smuggler it's pretty nice. Desert Banshee, really good card from Haunt. Really awkward when you don't have a Haunt distracting your opponent. And you just like play it from hand. It's a 4 for 5. A lot of times it can kind of die. There are decks where you can consider like unironically just including it though. I don't think the card's totally hopeless. I'd give it 2 stars. Probably in like the type of deck you'd play Fiend, you'd maybe consider playing Desert Banshee. Because the card can just be a lot of points and a consume, which is like a lot of value. We've got Bridge. Although honestly, Desert, like, when would you not rather just have a Slizzard? It's the thing with Desert Banshee. It's like if you can get a Desert Banshee to stick, you can get a Slizzard to stick. Slizzard's just like better. Slizzard's, whatever. I'll give it 2. Theoretically, it's not necessarily better. It's just like it kind of is, but whatever. Bridge Troll. I've tried to make use of this card. It's so clunky. Boosting the highest allied unit just sucks with all the tile punish. 1 star. Rot Fiend. Need to have a pretty heavy Death Wish deck. There's not many reasons to do that, but it's not a terrible Death Wish. Can sometimes be nice. It's a lot worse with the Unseen Elder rework. But it's not totally hopeless. I've found myself occasionally cramming it into like a Death Wish deck. I give it 2 stars. Cyclops. Let's see. I need to rate Bridge Troll and Rot Fiend. Cyclops is weird. Because Cyclops just looks pretty nice and flexible, but such an inefficient consume. And you also need to have the exact right damage number for what you want to do, or it becomes somehow an even more inefficient consume. 1 star. I hate Cyclops. Cyclops fucking blows. Van Warrior. Van Warrior got demolished by the change. It is like really sad. Van Warrior is an easy one. Used to be quite a good card. Barghest is a 5-star card. Yeah, Barghest is good. Barghest is like really good. Especially with the bug where you don't actually have to have dominance. Whether it's a bug or miswording, I should specify. It's like kind of ambiguous at this point. Because unlike some of the other bugs, like, they haven't done shit about it. They haven't said shit about it, as far as I can tell. It might just be intended, and the dominance might just be on there for no reason. I don't know. But like, even if this card was truly order dominance, it's still very good. Like, the card is... It's just a very reliable consume card. It's very easy to proc the dominance in a consume deck. Yeah. Flutter... I really want to say Flutter doesn't suck. Flutter's kind of like my pet card sometimes. But Flutter really does kind of suck. I'm giving Flutter 1 star. I've tried too hard to make Flutter not feel bad. And Flutter ends up feeling bad and always being mulligan fodder anyway. Like, the problem with Flutter is that Griffin is higher tempo and doesn't get purified. And Monsters as a faction doesn't play very hard into Purify. Especially not like the consume stuff. And like right now there's a lot of Purify, so you either want to play into it or not. Like, you either want to play stuff that's like more exciting than Flutter, and like more of it than you can with just Flutter, or you just like don't want to play Flutter, so you don't play Flutter, and you never do. And even if the Purify shit goes away, like, Flutter's not that exciting with Gurney when you can play Griffin in like the tempo versions and get better thrives, or you can play Slizzard and just like do basically the exact same thing with Flutter but with a Slizzard, and then have the option to consume other things as well. Speaking of Slizzard, I would currently rate Slizzard a 4-star card. The card is worse than Barghest. With all the tall removal in the meta, Slizzard is kind of like a Barghest that you have to actually stick to the board. It's like rare to get more than 2 consumes with like super significant value without just getting reset. Like by a larger amount to just kind of like make it so that you don't really get value by doing that. But the card is still good. It's also nice and Gurney when you can gain a point per turn when it's not doing anything. It gives you some way to get value out of having a large number of consumes, even though AQ got reworked, which is nice. Can also be good in a Kelly deck. I haven't really seen Kelly around, but Kelly should still theoretically be a lot of value if there's a good way to build it. So Slizzard's good. I rated some number of these cards, and fuck, I forgot it all already. 7, 4, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so 17. So we stopped at Barghest. So 1, 4. 1, 4. 1, 4, 1, 4. Yeah. So Ice Troll. Ice Troll is weird. Card got buffed like a patch ago or something. It's just still not very exciting. For how, like, you have to wait at least a couple of turns to actually start playing it as an engine. And it's like, you have no way to know what your opponent's playing. Like, in some decks, it'll just be a 5 if they, like, don't play many units. Card's, like, really awkward. It's not, like, terrible, but, like, it's pretty clunky when you have to get, like, at least, like, you kind of want to be getting, like, quite a bit out of this card, and it's kind of hard to do that. I don't know. I'd give Ice Troll. It's probably a 1-star card, honestly. It's pretty bad. Kaleno Harpy is hilariously outclassed by Barghest, and I couldn't even put it into Ruahin, which is like the only deck you would consider Kaleno Harpy in, with all the other crazy consume cards that Monsters has now. So 1-star. Kikamura Worker is really not too bad. It's like a Disgrace Brawler, but in monster form. But because of Thrive, that's a lot less bad, especially Kiki Queen Thrive. And it's like, worst case, gonna soak up like a real removal and trade slightly down with Tourney Joust. It's a card you can play. It's like a 2 or a 3-star card. I'll give it a 3. I see it around enough, and it's like decent enough when it is around. I think it probably deserves a 3. Griffin, I think likewise is probably a... Griffin might be a 4-star card. It's pretty good in Gurney. It's like, it works in Thrive. It works in just like Consume, because a lot of the consumes just make a bunch of 1s, and then like they still have some Thrive. It's like a decent filler card. And I mean, I think the decks it goes in are pretty good decks, so I think rating it 4 stars is kind of fair. Yeah, Griffin's not bad. It's on the lower side of 4 stars for sure, but it's not bad. Hideous Feast sees some amount of play, which goes to say how shitty Monsters' removal options are, because this card is really clunky and really not good. It's like technically not too bad in AQ, but it's not even like a 2 of there, and AQ's like in really bad shape right now. Like, AQ is like pretty awkward. I'd give this card 2 stars. I think 2 stars is fair. Pred Dive. I think I give Pred Dive 2 stars as well for being really niche. Honestly, just kind of a piece of shit. But in unit lists, it's funny. And, like, it can be really good. Runestone, I'd give 1 star. It is not a good runestone. Like, random monsters is really clunky, because a lot of the monster bronzes are, like, weird and synergistic. There's also absolutely no synergy with this runestone like there is in Skellige or Nilfgaard. Or, like, even, like, Dana levels of synergy, where you could just get, like, 1 extra tag. Ghoul. Ghoul's, like, okay. Because of Griffin being pretty good. It's just, like, it gets reset. And yeah, a lot of other things in monsters get reset. But you also can't play it in round 1, and it's a lot less exciting than Osril. And also, the goal is generally to last play Osril in the decks that have Ghoul. And the decks that have Ghoul tend to be pretty good at last playing Osril, because you, like, smork, and win round 1 a lot. I guess they end up pushing, and sometimes they burn the card for value on, like, trading for golds and things like that. I think Ghoul probably deserves 3 stars. The card's viable. It's just like, eh. It's really not exciting. Barbagazi, I think likewise is 3 stars. The card is kind of just... I want to... Like, the card is generally worse than Slizzard. It's a little more survivable than Slizzard, but the amount of extra consumes you can get from Slizzard is, like, kind of crazy. And, like, Barbagazi is just, like, it's in that tier where it can still get removed. It's not like it's unremovable or anything like that at this point. Like, there are more 6 damage. There are quite a few ways to deal 6. Or just, like, annoy the Barbagazi in other ways. It also costs more P than Slizzard, which puts the card in kind of an awkward spot. 6P cards are kind of awkward. But you can run it. Ice Giant. Is Ice Giant like a 2 or a 3? Ice Giant's, like, a lot worse than Griffin. I think. Some people would disagree, because Griffin can sometimes resort in, like, awkward sequencing. And, like, missing thrives. But that's getting rarer and rarer with all the other ways to, like, hit 1s with Griffin now. I guess Ice Giant probably deserves a 3-star rating if you give Ghoul a 3-star rating. Decks with Ghoul probably have Ice Giant. I think that's probably fair. The card's decent because it's Thrive, like, deceptively so. Even though there's, like, Pirate and, like... I mean, Taurus is pretty good. Tortoise is doing well. Pirate, not so much. But that kind of goes to speak about how bronzes in different factions measure up in different ways. And big vanilla power is definitely more valuable in monsters than in some other factions. Jotun, kind of funny. I played Jotun once this stream, so I'll give him a pity star. I'll give Jotun 2. He's really funny in the Noonwraith deck. Alpha Werewolf, on the other hand, I will not give even a single pity star. This card is really not good. It's like, paying 6P for a Thrive engine that does nothing else is just like, ugh. Because, like, the only reason you'd play Necro Warrior over, like, any of the other bronze Thrives is because Necro Warrior is survivable. And it's like, you really need it to pay, like, 2 more P just for it to be more survivable. When there's going to be, like, a bunch of other shit to target, and it's just a Thrive. It's not, like, that high priority. Like, the card's bad, 1 star. Also, I've been rating the 6s as 5s because I'm a Pepega. Fuck. Okay, so that gets a 1. We subtract a 2 for Jotun. We add a 1 for Jotun. We subtract a 3 for Ice Giant. We add a 3 for Ice Giant. And then Barbagazi is a 3, and then Ghoul is a 3. So we subtract 2. Okay. So that's the right count of 5s, right? I'm going to quickly count the 5s. 5, 5, 6, 12, 18, 24. Fuck, I missed one somewhere. Whatever. I'm too tired. Whatever. The spreadsheet will be very slightly wrong. Abaya. I think I give Abaya 3 stars just because it requires Harpy Egg. And it requires 2 Harpy Egg. And sometimes you don't want to be running like Abaya, but the card's pretty good value. The Thrive is nice. A Thrive gets quite a bit of extra value, on top of already being a 9 for 6, albeit a situational 9 for 6. It's a lot of points round 1, which Monsters doesn't always really need. But if you're playing a deck where it does need round 1 points, Abaya is a great thing to just throw down. Nithrol. I mean, if I gave Bomb Heaver 5 stars, theoretically I should be giving Nithrol 5 stars. God, that feels fucking silly. I actually don't think that's fair, though, because Monsters as a faction on the whole, there are a lot of reasons why Nithrol's, like, artifact removal in general is less good in Monsters than it is in other factions. I am only going to give Nithrol 4 stars. And the reason for this is that you have monster decks that smork, and those decks just want to bleed out the scenario most of the time. And then you have monster decks that, like, want a really long round, and those tend to be solitaire game plans, and Nithrol will just often get walled off by a defender, which will be ignored by the rest of the monster deck. And so because of that, it's awkward to find a spot for Nithrol, even though artifact removal cards are really fucking annoying and really good. Because lol scenario, artifact removal, something, Y game. Yeah. Parasite, I give 3 stars. Card is, like, awkward to fit into basically anything. But it does its job pretty well. It's a lot less, like, relevant to the decks that it's in than Giga Scorpion. Giga Scorpion is just, like, way better Parasite. But, yeah, no. It does the job. If you need it to, really. But it's like, again, just Parasite. It's got the problem with all the other monster control tools where it's just like, none of them are exciting. Some of them are, like, playable, but then if you play them on their own, they just get played around, and then they do nothing. And it's easy to play around because, like, some shit just sticks to the board because you don't have enough answers for everything. You can't be, like, a true control deck with monsters most of the time. So it's just, like, weird. But it's got a place in some decks. Mostly, like, especially the unitless ones. So we're on to 7s. Penitent is a nice, easy 5 stars. Penitent is, I think, in terms of raw power, the best card in the new expansion. And I think it's not that close. Like, there are a lot of cards that see, like, a lot more ubiquitous play. But, like, Penitent is really crazy. Werkat is weird. Werkat got buffed recently. The card is just so clunky. I don't know what the person who designed this card wants people to use it for. Because it's got Thrive, which says play me early. It's got a Deploy, which says damage everything. It says play me late. It's got 7P, which says pull me with Penitent, because why the fuck would you pull this with Penitent? 1 fucking star. Absolute garbage. It's like not that bad in terms of raw value. It feels like you could put it in the Deathwish deck if it weren't for Penitent, which just makes it all the more confusing. Like why? Why were you created, Werecat? The Beast. The Beast is like pretty good. It gets answered a lot. It gets poisoned a lot. It gets annoyed a lot. But it's a Penitent target and it's a solid card. It's generally the one I would cut over Pugo if for whatever reason you decided you only want 1 Penitent target, which I've had a few decks where I've decided that was the right move. Mostly combo decks. But I'd give it a solid 4-star. The card's pretty good. Can consider running it in decks without Penitent too. Although monsters decks without Penitent, lol. Gale. Gale has the classic 7P card without being pullable by Penitent problem. But it's at least in Vampires. A lot of Vampires don't run Penitent, so you can run like Gale and Queen of the Night. And those cards sound a lot less exciting than Penitent to me. If I built a Vampire deck, it would have Penitent and Haunt, because those are like good monster cards instead of like bad ones. But I mean, Gale's not that bad. Gale's pretty good. I give Gale like 3 stars, which is kind of my rating of Vampires more so than Gale, because Gale's one of the better cards in Vampires. Endrega Queen. So Endrega Queen is like weird. In theory, it's like, at worst it can be just like a 7-point Kaleno Harpy, which is what it ends up doing way too often. If you actually eat anything that like you want to target for like gaining its armor, suddenly it just gets tall, and then it has a bunch of armor, and then it gets tall removed. It's like a clunky card, but it's not the worst thing ever. I'd give it like 2 stars. It's also not pullable by Penitent, which hurts it. You know, how many times do I need to fucking say that? Queen of the Night. I think Queen of the Night gets 3 stars. Goes in the same deck as Gale. Less good than Gale, but also Monsters probably really needs a Purify if you're going to run like anything like Dettlaff or like things that target things at all. And you don't have many options. Manticore. Manticore is weird. I give Manticore like... Manticore can be pulled by Penitent, but it's like really awkward too. Manticore is a standalone card without the Old Elder is like a lot worse, but it's not a hopeless card. I guess I'd give it 2 stars. I've built a couple of random meme decks that have gotten good mileage out of Manticore. I don't know. My standards are clearly not that high. Pugo gets, I would say, 4 stars. Card's like pretty good on its own. But like struggles a little bit just because there's so much tall hate right now. But thanks to Penitent, it's just like a big ass thing you can pull. So that's pretty neat. I guess Pugo probably deserves 5. Nah, Penitent's really doing most of the carrying. You could pull fucking anything with Penitent, and it's just like crazy because you pulled it with Penitent. I'll give Pugo 4. So yeah, that's my breakdown of those. Now we've got 8s. We got Wispus Tribute, kind of an awkward tutor. I would call it Wispus Tribute is kind of weird because it's like play an organic card from your deck. And that's just like organic card. Huh. What a pile of cards. Like, none of these cards go together. I guess Hillock and, like, Brewis now finally do kind of go in the same deck. Maybe. Except Hillock kind of fucking blows, spoiler alert. Hillock is like Royal Decree for 2 less P, but, like, you don't get to pick what you want. You just get some random Death Wish crap. And, like, you're probably running stuff besides random Death Wish crap. Hillock's not the worst thing ever. You, like, can run Hillock. I guess Tribute. I honestly can't really justify giving Tribute more than 2 stars. It feels weird for, like, a 2 for 8 tutor, because a lot of them are pretty good. But Lispis really isn't. Arrakis Behemoth, I would say, is decent in, like, a lot of the... Like, it's a good payoff for, like, AQ. It's a good card in decks that have insectoids, and a lot of decks can. I guess I'll give it 3. You can play it in Kiki Queen, even though it's not amazing. It's got enough random uses. Striga, Ada Striga is, yeah. This card is clunky. This card is like, it looks like it's not that clunky. And then you miss the dominance once, and you end up playing a literal 3. And it's like not great even when it works. I've given this card a 1. It feels pretty bad to play it. Toad Prince fills a niche. Not exciting control card, but some decks need it. 3 stars. Caranthier is like a 5-star card. This card got even better with Penitent, but Caranthier is just like carried monsters on its back for the longest time. Caranthier is just really good. Crones all get 1 star. Crows have just gotten power crept out. They were overrated to begin with, and now they're like just genuinely bad. Imlerith, 1 star. It's like kind of funny in like an Aridin deck pile or whatever that just like tries to keep shit alive. It's just not good though. It's just like doesn't do enough. It's a little bit better as a result of the dominance change, I guess. But it's just like, it's not like Old Sabbath that just like kills everything. Armored Arrakis is... Okay, so I need to rate... Armored Arrakis is like okay. It's a bleed card. It's awkward when it gets purified, but honestly, it doesn't trade that badly with Purify compared to other bleed cards, even though it bleeds like a hell of a lot more. It's like a pretty good bleed card. Can't give it more than 3 stars because it's just a bleed card. Bleed is like, it's, I don't know, the deck's like not great. It's not really relevant right now. So we've got a 3, and then we've got 3 more 1s. We've got Tatterwing, otherwise known as Tattermeme. You can do cute things with Caranthier, but Caranthier's gotten so many more tricks. 1 star. Another Crone, another 1 star. Morvad. Morvad has gotten a lot better. Morvad genuinely got actually like pretty decent. Plague Maiden is a very solid card. You can play it in like Death Shadow Cheese, but it's also just not a bad card and like a little more mid-rangey of a monster deck. For a while I was playing Plague Maiden and Morvad and Gurney, and it was not bad. Morvad also works quite well with a single Night Wraith already gets your Morvad up to 10. And that's like pretty easy to do. And that's like usually your backup plan. You just play a Plague Maiden, this card's automatically like 13 for 8. It's like good. it's the cards that the card works with are like not the most auto include and can sometimes be awkward with row space. And it's like situational. So it might just be a 3. It's a 3 or a 4. I'd give it a 3 probably. But it's a really good swarm payoff. It kind of builds a deck around it, and the deck's like not terrible. What do I think of it? I guess if I'm calling vampires 3-star, I'm calling the Swarm Elder meme a 3-star. Yeah, alright. Karen. I don't know if Karen's a 4 or a 5. Karen's gotten buffed again, despite being like generally a staple and consumed for like the longest time. It's like a really flexible consume option, which is really nice. Definitely doesn't have like the raw value of like Barghest or just like Andrago Warrior. And also you have to stack, like if you use all 3 consumes, you're stacking it all on a Karen, which can be awkward at times. I think it's probably only a 4-star card. But it's a pretty good consume tool. Goliath. Goliath's like solid. You can just slam a Goliath. It can proc Haunt. Gives it a lot more variety in the decks you can throw it into. Where it feels like it has synergy. The Death Wish is actually sometimes an upside. The Death Wish can also sometimes be an upside just like actually being used, which is pretty funny. I think the card's like solid. Probably worthy of a 4-star. It goes into like a lot of the smart decks, which are like decent. Hillock. I guess I'll give Hillock 2 stars. It's a bad tutor, but it's not a hopelessly bad tutor. And like whatever random Death Wish pile you're running. Imlerith's Wrath. I think I will also give 2 stars. The card like is not a terrible tall removal in a lot of decks that can just like really easily make super tall shit. Like it's kind of just like 8 to destroy something, but it's a really slow destroy something. It's not good at like removing something threatening that your opponent plays right away, which kind of limits it a bit. It's also a control card in monsters. That's just like a running joke for me. It's a 2-star card. So we go to 9s. We've got Osriel. Osriel's great. Osriel probably worthy of that 5th special snowflake star. Jaeger and Osriel, I feel like, are just both really solid. Morntart, not as much. Morntart gets that solid Uno star. Protoflutter, despite getting buffed somewhat recently, has just felt jankier and jankier due to power creep. Also, armor totally cucks Protoflutter. The drain doesn't actually boost if it hits armor. It only boosts for like true damage. It's like technically playable, but it's pretty bad. Most of the better lists I see, even for like vampires and like Thrive, which are like the 2 decks you would think it would go into, just end up cutting it. I give it like it's maybe good enough to be 3 stars, but it's realistically like a 2-star card. Card's like really unimpressive a lot of the time. Like when it's good, it feels good, but like it's that card that'll occasionally feel really good, but most of the time just isn't. Oriana builds a deck. It's like an okay deck. Oriana is insane enough value that I'll give Oriana 4 stars. for literally building a deck. She Troll of Vergen, 2 stars? I don't know. I've seen this card played occasionally. It's kind of funny. Could potentially get really big. No, this card sucks. This card's a meme, and I know it. I'm giving Shit Troll the 1-star treatment. Maruna is a lot more awkward without Elder, obviously. Not as hopeless as Manticore, and I gave Manticore 2 stars. So I guess Maruna is like theoretically not shit. I don't know, maybe it is as hopeless as Manticore. It's a lot more like you have to have a consume on board to actually like activate it right away, and then your opponents have to like actually play into it. It's a lot of value when your opponents do play into it, but it's just like clunky. I think it's another 2-star. It's got like its niche in like whatever random Death Wish pile deck you build. For ritual, but like yeah. Glusty should be a really good card. Like, Glusty looks like it should build a deck. And then you build that deck. And the rest of that deck is so shit, you can just never ever get last say. Which is literally all Glusty needs to be good. Like, it's a good enough card standalone when you play a bunch of 1s in your deck and just, like, have, like, can just sometimes, like, nom and Dragolarva and cheese. Like, the card is viable. Well, it's just so awkward to fit. It's a 3-star card, I think. Katakan, I think, is also probably 3 stars. It's a card that, like, fits so many monster archetypes in theory, and it seems so good because it's super proactive and things like that. But monsters, like, don't actually value proactivity. Like, monsters just generally don't have a problem being proactive. And, like, the card just, like, it starts so high on the Thrive, and it's so awkward to consume it because it's such a big unit to, like, only get those 2 extra points. Like, the card is really not that great. I end up trying to cut it from most of my monster lists, and then sometimes I end up playing it anyways. And sometimes I cut it. But it's just like, I don't know, it's not amazing. Cave Troll has a time and a place for really cheesy strategies. Problem with Cave Troll is it gets purified. There's not enough else that gets purified in monsters, so I give Cave Troll like 2 to 3 stars. It's one of the weaker defenders for sure. Probably a 3-star though. You can play it. If people aren't expecting it, it'll do very well. Frightener has kind of just been creeped out. You could consider playing Frightener in like a Glusty Warp deck, and that's about it. Like, in sort of like a super control deck, Frightener might be good. Because it is a unitless play and things like that. There's like a specific deck for Frightener, which is like not strong at all right now, but theoretically it still has some potential. So I'll give it a 2nd star. Even though the card's mostly just gotten crept as 12 for 9 gets less and less exciting, and 0 for 9 gets more and more game losing. Crimson Curse. Yeah, it's Crimson Curse. I really poor Crimson Curse. Give it a 1. Naglfar. This card got a lot worse. For one, you got Mata. You also got Penitent. Those are both cards. Mata does Naglfar's job, and often better, especially in decks that are running Haunt. Penitent, like, bricks your Naglfar. And you're not gonna cut Penitent so you can play Naglfar, because Naglfar is really not that exciting. It's got a place in, like, Vampires, or, like, maybe, like, Thrive Gurney. Like, full Thrive Gurney. It deserves, like, at least 3 stars. But the card has gotten overhyped by people for, like, so long. It is really not an essential tool for your monster deck. Like, it's hard for me to justify giving it 4 stars when it's, like, so cuttable from so many monster decks. I think it's only a 3-star card. So we've got 10s. Detlaf is great. Detlaf is Detlaf 5-star great, or is Detlaf 4-star great? I think Detlaf is 5-star great. Detlaf is just a lot of value in one card. It's a really big consume card. The fact that you can just throw 15 points in a card and, like, also not have it be, like, super duper tall removable, like, less so than cards like Yigern and things like that, even though you have to, like, eat it up. Detlaf is pretty good. Like, it can get Caranthired too. Detlaf is just, like, Detlaf builds a lot of monster decks. Just in the shadows. Gale's got better as a result of the Elder Change. You can now actually proc Gale's once instantly. And Gale's is, like, pretty powerful. Like, triggering a Death Wish ability, depending on the one you choose, can be worth quite a lot. You can do funny things with, like, if your opponents don't expect it, you can, like, Caranthier or Manticore, and then Gales, and you can just, like, snipe 2 units. It's pretty fun. I think the card honestly has some potential, but the problem with Gales is that any trick you can do with Gales is a trick you probably want to do with Haunt, because Haunt is just a big old pile of value, whereas Gales is, like, a pretty good value right away. And then, like, oh fuck, I smell water. Oh. So much for stopping my tea. Yeah. Oh, also I'm out of time. Oh well, I'm gonna continue doing this. Because I was doing this category. Yeah, you guys never actually reminded me to stop the thing. Oh well. Oh, you did? Oh, well, I didn't see it, so it doesn't count. Alright. Anyways, I'm probably supposed to, like... Alright, I'm glad I, like, didn't just, like, burn down my house. It was in all caps? Oh. Oops. Yeah. It wasn't actually gonna burn down my house. Like, what happened was I had, like, my tea set up with, like... I had it over the stove, and it's, like, I find it a lot easier to, like, make the tea, like, with the bags in the actual kettle, as opposed to, like, putting it in a cup later. Like, it's a lot more efficient. But because I left the water on for like way too fucking long, eventually the kettle got hot enough that like it just lit the paper on fire from like the tea bags. And it wasn't like near anything else flammable, so it wasn't like gonna like fuck up anything. But I could smell the smoke from here. So like I don't know. I would have rather it like not set off the fire alarm or anything like that, which thankfully it didn't. Yeah. So that's my story. Not very exciting, I know. I was raiding Gales. That's much more exciting, obviously. Yeah. The adventures of being way too damn tired to like remember you're doing anything. Gales. I give Gales 2 stars for potential. Haha. This card has just been crept out. I see a couple of people still throw it into Gurney. They're fucking crazy. 1 star. Yigern, 5 stars. Yeah, Yigern. I love my boy Yigern. Yigern's like a little risky at times. Like, you gotta. It's fucking Yigern. It's actual 13 for 10. Oh, I almost missed one. Ritual Sacrifice. Kind of a cute card. Kind of awkward. I give it 2 stars. Alright. Then we've got the others. Weavis Incantation. There's some funny cards you can play with it. It's just so hard to justify spending this much P. And like the cards you'd want to play with it are like Goliath, which you don't really mind just playing anyway. Or like Yigard, which you don't really mind just playing anyway. Or like Caldwell, which fucking sucks. This card's like bad. It's not coming back without a buff. 1 star. Ruahin builds a deck. It's like one of the less good cheesy elder decks, probably. I'm like torn between Ruahin and Kiki Queen. They're both funny. Kiki Queen's like clunkier, but and like probably a little less good at winning round 1. But like it can get the job done. And Kiki Queen's like a ton of points. Like Kiki Queen definitely beats Ruahin in a showdown. But Ruahin really has kind of impressed me. Like, I think the deck is somewhat legitimate. I would give Ruahin 3 stars. It is really like a super build your deck around it because you need to eat it as much as you can for it to really be worth it. Kiki Queen. How do I rate Kiki Queen? I guess I rate it 4 stars because I think it's slightly better than Ruahin. And I think that deck is honestly like pretty solid. It's pretty annoying too. Like Kiki Queen is like pretty good. Plague Maiden. I think Plague Maiden, if I gave Morvud 3 stars, Plague Maiden probably deserves 4 stars. This card is like almost good enough on its own to just like 14 for 12, but you get so many possible synergies. You get Morvud, you get Glusty Warp, you get Bone Talisman, you get Triss. Like, you could argue that it's also a downside because you need the board space. But most of the time, with how you're building your deck, it's an upside. I think Plague Maiden's pretty solid. I'd give it 4 stars. There are quite a few decks you can fit it into, or it'll do pretty well. Can also like Elder Cheese with it and like use it twice super fast in a short round, and then like Yen. Keltolis is definitely still viable-ish, but it's really hard to build a deck around Kelly right now. I'd give the card 3 stars. It's becoming less and less like obviously inherently good if it just kills one thing. And it's also getting easier and easier to like just answer it. But it's still Keltullus. Keltullus is spooky. I'd give Kelly a 3. Also, these are definitely 12s and not 11s. They're different in my thing, for whatever reason. Yeah. Okay, there we go, fixed. Old spear tip. Kinda got power crept out. Kinda got power crept. Ah, I heard a sub noise. Oh no, wait, that's Jamadi. Thank you for the raid. Yeah. We're wrapping up monster card ratings. Reached the end of a subathon. I'm like pretty damn tired. I could be doing anything else with my life right now. Anyways, let's see. Old spear tip. Does old spear tip deserve anything other than a 1? No. Jaegern exists. That's all I've got to say about old spear tip. Old spear tip is just like, God, you pay so much for a 12. And like, yeah, it's like a 12 that you could just like slam down, but it's like, really? I'm giving spear tip a 1. Haunt, on the other hand, is really good. Haunt gets the young 5 stars. Because Haunt is Haunt. And it's a ton of value. The initial Desert Banshee is one of the better prologues, which is really relevant because of artifact removal. It's also something that people want to answer, which is relevant because of artifact removal. You're like kind of forking people when you play Haunt to some degree. It also can be activated with Death Shadow to immediately play Chapter 1. And if you play Prologue in Chapter 1, you basically get most of the value of Haunt. Not to say that Chapter 2 is bad, it can be 5 to 7 more points, and it can also be like a point on Desert Banshee. But having Haunt front-loaded is super good, and also just like, if you're playing a consume deck, Desert Banshee and Barghest are really good cards compared to like, I don't know, just some of the other scenarios have a lot more like random shit on them. So those are my monster ratings. Oh yeah, the monster stratagem. 5 is fucking. I'm too tired to pull that shit. It's fucking Urn of Shadows. Yeah, 1 star. Alright. Deserves 0, yeah. It really does. Okay. So I rated monsters. Yeah, woo. I'm like too tired to do the rest. I would be tempted to do the rest, but my subathon counter is in fact saying I should sleep. So I'm probably gonna do that. And then maybe I'll do something else dumb like this at some other time, and then that's when I'll rate the other cards. That's probably just really dumb. I'll probably just rate the other cards at some point on stream. Whatever. Glad I didn't burn my house down. Yeah, peace.